right, we're here to introduce you to the Knoxville Bronies, hoping that some of you might join who aren't already a member. We just want to start by saying, actually I guess that's a good way to start. What's the problem with being a Brony? I mean, what's your opinion of Bronies? Do any of you have something you want to say? Any questions?
A comment about being a Brony?
I mean,
I can make a comment. I think a lot of people. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, what's the problem with like getting involved in the fandom?
No, there's not really a problem per se now, but I think when you think about where the series came from and what it originally was intended to do, compared to what it is now, it's just been an evolution. The original was all geared towards girls. You want me to take the mic?
You don't have to.
I mean, the original was all geared to girls, and so when you think about it coming up to being where now it's socially acceptable for even guys to be involved in this, because basically you have a brand new creative team behind it, a team that knows how to write characters not just for a female audience, but write characters for an audience of both genders. Because when you think about like who Lauren Faust is, who was the one that originally created Powerpuff Girls, who, Powerpuff Girls was popular by little boys and stuff like that, and it's just now it's become cross-gendered because of the writing behind it and because of just the way it came about. But the original reason why a lot of people frown about it, if they don't know about the new series, and you say, well, I like My Little Ponies, people will frown at you, be like, because like they'll be thinking like the old '80s cartoons, or even before season or Generation 4 came out, you think about Generation 3.5, that was geared to like real little girls, like preschoolers. So you tell somebody, I'm a My Little Pony fan, and they think about what recently came out before the new series, which wasn't even that long ago, about 2006, 2007. I'm not sure on the dates, but you think about that, and then it's like, oh wow, you're kind of creepy, but then they see Generation 4 if they know what it is, and they'll say, oh okay, I see why you became a fan, because it's nothing like it used to be. So that's where if there is any problem being a Brony, it's where it came from. It's not where it is. If that makes any sense.
Great comment. Pause. Did you probably want to say something?
I don't know.
You don't need a mic.
People think it's kind of goofy, and think it's kind of weird. I guess you could say, why was someone weird? Everybody's weird. Yay!
You guys possibly want to pull up a clip to get around it.
Dinner's no go. Dinner's no go.
That's so cool.
Guys, so what we'd like to do today is we just like to open up this as a discussion in the truest sense. For what we're going to do is we're going to have certain topics that we'd like to talk about, but we'd like you guys to talk back to us, because being a Brony, this is about getting together and making friends and becoming friends with pretty much everybody you can. Just ask Pinky. So what we wanted to talk about first was where we came from as a group, and Carl, you should actually cover that because you've been here longer than I have. So do it.
Yay, Carl!
I guess this guy here and a friend of his started Justin. They formed the group back in March 29th, but it pretty much only had like 8 members for 2 months. I guess that was 3 months until Knoxville Yama-Con, which was the first real convention around here to have any type of pony panel. And basically, there were about 50 fans and Bronies that showed up. No one expected that, and just kind of spread the word about our Facebook group, Knoxville Bronies, and as a result, the group came about. I mean, it grew to 50 by the end of that month. All right, now the main thing that people were going to at Knoxville Yama-Con was Tara Strong did a Skype conference there, and she's one of the VAs. She speaks for Twilight Sparkle. And after that, I mean, we had a big movie marathon where about 30 people came out and watched it on bigger screen than that, and then, yeah, and more people joined. Then we had a small booth at Adventure Con back in October. We had a big meetup for the season premiere of the new season, season 3. And now we're hosting a panel at Yama-Con, and that's pretty much the history behind it. We're now running over 110 members, and just it's growing up by leaps and bounds about every week. I mean,
And the idea here is that we want to get you guys involved in the group because we do fun things. We're trying to get together as often as we can to enjoy what it means to be a Brony. For instance, we're working on getting our Hearthwarming Eve party set up. Do you want to talk about it?
all right, if any of you are interested, if you want to join the Facebook group, we've got cards we'll hand out at the end of the panel. Essentially, we're going to have a get together next Sunday afternoon for Hearthwarming Eve is the My Little Pony Christmas. I mean, and we're just gonna we were planning on having it in a restaurant. If we get too many people, we'll find something else to do. But we'll have a white elephant gift exchange. It'll be a great time. I mean, you know, if you can't bring something or you forget, that's fine. But you know, it's a time to meet Bronies and have fun. You know, just love and tolerate the hell out of each other.
So let's do a little bit of demographics here. Raise your hand if you're not a Brony. Okay, hold on a second. I want to know. I just have to ask. Well, what exactly are you doing here?
Curiosity.
What are you curious about exactly?
The whole scenario about the Brony.
Have you watched the show yet?
Watched one episode.
Which one?
Yeah, which one?
Can't remember.
What happened?
Just tell me. Just
What did it involve?
scene. What happened?
We'll tell you.
I think it's where the little purple pony tries to talk Fluttershy and sing.
What? That must have been right. What? No.
Anybody know that one?
It might have been the first one where Twilight runs into Fluttershy for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure. So raise your hand if you are a Brony.
Well, good job.
Okay, I have a question about you. You're not raising your hand for either non-Brony or Brony. You're just here?
We're glad you're here.
All right. Well, I'm part of the. I heard Furs give Bronies a whole bunch of crap, so I came here just to see. No, not that. No, just like all the adult content has given the Bronies a bad name in the fandom, and then everybody is just like, oh, they're moving in and they're taking everything. So I came here just to check it out and.
Well, yay!
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand.
You're blocking my view.
Okay, so this was the initial question we started with in the first place. What's wrong with being a Brony? I mean, nothing, right?
As a Brony.
Parties! That's not wrong though, is it?
There's only one thing wrong with being a Brony, and that's when it's a Brony who just freaks out when someone's like, oh, I haven't watched ponies. They're like, what? And they freak out about it. And then they're like, oh, well, I don't like you because you don't like ponies. Like, dude, the point of the show is love and tolerate. Come on.
It's okay.
It's also wrong when someone starting all kinds of fights and stuff because one person doesn't agree with what they think about the show, or they start the shipping, and it just has to be straight ponies, nothing else. You you can't do anything to the show. That's my kind of feel on it.
If it's not canon, it never happened.
I was just going to say, the term for what you were speaking of is called a Brony troll, right? There's a troll Brony, it's one of them. And, I mean, yeah, essentially, we do, I think they're not that common. I mean, because I haven't encountered it yet, but actually I know I did see one guy at Adventure Con. He was begging somebody to watch an episode. I mean, and then I told him, I talked with him more gently, and he said he watched an episode, but the problem was the guy showed him a Cutie Mark Crusaders episode, which isn't the best thing to start with. And so, I mean, it's no wonder he wasn't really a fan of it, because his view of it would have been more of a, that kind of gives it a more G3.5, where it's young, it's all fillies, but, you know, all of us here, it's more of a sitcom. I mean, it's just random content. I mean, I don't know if we get anything to show up here, but, you know, it can. I mean, just show like Fluttershy cheering or something. There you go, everybody likes that. We've got another comment.
It's real funny. So lucky.
Well, one thing I was thinking of is another thing that it's kind of hard to run into. I don't know if it's so much with My Little Ponies, but I know like a lot of times when you have a large fandom of shows, there's certain fan groups that like to have, they have their own interpretation one way, and then like let's say, even though you're a fan of the same show, but your interpretation of it's different, sometimes that can cause like a little bit of a rough and a feud too as well. Because like you think, well, I think this episode was about this, and they go, no, you're misseeing it, and then people get into arguments about what the show was actually about. So that's just something that I've seen.
You the humanized one.
But anyways, that's all I have to say.
Now, what have we learned? Lots of control. Good. Screwing. Yes, and most importantly, passion. Right. So now that you know the elements of a good cheer, let's hear one. Yay. Gonna cheer for me like that? Louder. Yay. Louder. Yay. Louder. Yay.
Okay, I just thought of something fun we could do since just about everybody in here is a Brony. I'd like to see hands for who each person's favorite pony is of the main six. Alright, well, let's just start with the main one, Twilight Sparkle.
Where are your hands? Thank you.
No, you foiled all my plans. I don't like you.
That's a funny way to say pinky, Carl.
What?
It's a funny way to say pinky.
Alright, well, let's go to Fluttershy that we just saw.
She's my waifu.
What if it's a tie?
Hey, we're not lying. We're just wanting to know.
I'm just curious, I do want to see what the overwhelming majority is. Okay, Rainbow Dash fans that we saw as well. Well, so far, Fluttershy is the winner. Applejack. Rarity. Wow, that's actually a surprise. Most of the polls come with Rarity as near the bottom, so that's and Pinkie Pie finally. That's me too. But so, I mean, I think the obvious reason why Fluttershy is probably popular with Bronies is both Bronies are introverted. I mean, I think they associate with her on that level. She has to stare. Get an idea.
She's
I think
adorable.
Trixie still wins at this point.
Okay, I'll just ask you, how many's favorite pony is not one of the main six?
I like Vinyl Scratch.
I'll second that. Big Mac, you know who it is?
What?
Luna.
Hey, we got one who's Trixie!
Speaking of
invades dreams.
I know who has Rayburn. Oh, wait, what did you say?
Does she count as a special pony though? To be argued. True, but she's not technically a pony.
There's really no best pony. It's just
Possibly that was associated with persecution or somebody being mean to somebody else. I can't think of something about it. No, from the show. Something where where somebody's being mean, like Rainbow Dash is being mean to someone. Okay, you can find the scene where Fluttershy is being called, Fluttershy.
Oh, I like you.
And she went around. Just look up that. She's not Fluttershy.
I like this one was coming out when he's
What I'm going to have here is a clip showing Fluttershy being treated poorly because I do know that a lot of bronies have suffered pain or persecution, so we might delve into that if any of you have. I don't know what that team maker is. Why don't we do it? Do it. Now, have any bronies had any experience like that from their friends or family or anything having hate toward them? Would you like to share?
My sister, she's a little bit younger than me, about 4 years. I'm 23, she's 18. And I was like, yeah, I found this new show. She's like, what are you watching? I was like, Mom and Pony, Friendship is Magnet. She's like, yay! And then, I would go on there and I'd go on Facebook and stuff. This one guy who's a friend is like, just started talking bad about bronies, and like a bunch of people who were my friends and everything liked the comment. I was a little bummed out by it, but I go into work and everything. They know I'm a brony, and they're pretty chill about it. They know my fandom, but they don't say anything about it. So, I mean, I found acceptance with some of my friends. Most of my friends are bronies, or they know about it, or they'll just joke with me about it or something like that. But I mean, sometimes you'll get some people who really just don't understand it. I mean, that's I guess the hard thing to understand. I don't know. Maybe they're just not really that open about it. But I mean, they're allowed to do what they want. But I don't think if you should knock on someone for something you like that. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a fandom. I mean, I have friends who are comic book fans and anime fans, and I am too. And you'll see them in they're usually the most accepting. Anybody who's of a fandom can understand what you're like, why you like something. Someone who doesn't really a fan of anything, they're just like, nerd! So that's my experience with it. Thank you.
Do you have one or? Okay, Real talk.
Well, you see, my family was not really accepting of me because, yeah, I'm a girl, it'll be easier on me. That's bullshit. Because, my mom, my mom was she's like, you watch it? I'm like, yeah, because I didn't tell anybody for a good while. I started liking it when I was still in high school and graduated now. And I started watching it with some of my old friends in high school. And after I started watching it at home, my mom was like, oh, what are you watching? I was like, My Little Pony. She's like, what's that? I was like, oh, it's My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. And I started explaining what it all was about. And she's like, you're 20 years old. You shouldn't be watching that. I'm like, would you rather me be out doing drugs? Or something like that. And I was like, yeah.
Ponies are the best drugs.
But I didn't really tell any of my friends or nothing that I liked My Little Pony until I learned that they liked My Little Pony. So I decided to tell. It took me at least a year.
wish you did that to that.
I have to admit, when I first started watching My Little Ponies, my little brother was the one that got me into it. And when I first started watching it going to work, I was kind of embarrassed at the idea that I liked this little kid show and stuff like that. And as well, I started watching it more, I got more comfortable with it. And I went out and bought those little bitty ponies, you know, those little plastic ones. I got a whole bunch of them, and I have a whole bunch of them in my drawer at work. And I'll pull them out and set them up on my desk. And you won't be surprised about how many girls come by my desk and look at, oh, this is so cute, what is this? And they'll talk about it, and I have to try to explain it. But at first, you know, I think, you know, being the fact that, like I was talking about earlier, where, you know, the evolution of it, I was embarrassed to say this was something I liked. But then as it got more things, you know, as I watched it more and more, I just kind of forgot about it. And now I'm a fan straight up, so. But it was funny though at first though, because I was kind of embarrassed, especially when we downloaded all the music from off the internet. We downloaded season 1, season 2, all the songs, and we were listening to the car, and we passed like by some people, and we had it up. I'm like, turn it down, all the people in here. I was listening to this. But now it's cool.
When I first got into it, the main problem I had is that like I found this show and it's awesome and I enjoy it so much, but it was just kind of a hassle. None of my friends were into it, and I was so afraid to tell anybody. And I didn't know anybody else that was a Brony. So I'm just like, I have this thing that's so awesome and wonderful, and I have no one to share it with, and it's driving me crazy. Eventually, I did end up finding some Brony friends at work, and one of my other friends, I got him into it.
All right. Do you want to share with me?
Yeah. I went to West Valley Middle School, and I was the only person in my class who was a Brony except for my friend, and he was one of the really open people. If someone asked him if he was a Brony, he would say yes with great enthusiasm. So one day while I was in class, there was this hater that came by and started throwing the generic "you're a fag" comments at my friend. I wouldn't have minded so much, except my friend started to cry, and which made him keep going. I stood up and I punched that guy right in the eye. And I didn't get in trouble because the principal was a Brony too. And now we call him Gilda.
All right, well, you had mentioned the music. I mean, everybody's well aware that there's lots of music made by Brony artists that are not necessarily from the show or remix. They're actually independent solo things, and I encourage everybody to look into that.
I've seen some. There's one really good one with.
What's that?
I was saying, they have my favorite original Pony song.
Love me, no one watching the
final stretch earlier. You have such
What's your name?
My admin tried to
2 versus number 20. Ruben?
By the way, quick question. Is Wooden Toaster a girl or a boy? I thought he was a guy.
He is a guy.
Why did they make his host a girl in that? I've seen it drawn as a guy.
Something horrible's gonna happen to her, but then like throughout the whole thing, she beats herself.
All right, and did you have a comment?
I have a more general comment than just Brony fandom, but it's really tied into what we've been talking about. I don't think there's a single person in this room or in this convention who doesn't know what it's like to feel like you're the only one who's as excited about what you really like as anyone else. And there's not really anyone else who gets it. And that's what I think that's what conventions are about. It's about discovering that, yes, there are other Bronies. There's, in fact, a lot of them. And there are other people who are into stuff you're into, even if it's really weird, even if it involves like getting up at 6 in the morning to paint yourself red. and then having lingering gray for days after. It's what being in a fandom is all about. It's what makes, it takes the series from something you enjoy to something a step above. It takes it from just a TV show for girls that happens to be interesting for adults too, to things that people spend hours and hours and months of their life constructing these gorgeous costumes for. And it's why we shell out so much money at cons. It's because it's a one-of-a-kind experience where we're no longer that one kid in the back of the cafeteria with My Little Pony figures. That's, I think, a lot about what we're here for today. And I think it would be a better use of everybody's mental energy to spend less time thinking about how horrible it is to be without these awesome people and enjoy our time with each other, because this is kind of the most awesome day of the month so far. Woo! That's what I have to say.
Top benefits of being a big guy.
I mean, none of you have said anything.
That one we were riding very distractedly at 2 o'clock p.m.
Say what else?
Oh, it's that I read the whole community thing and talk about my experience doing it.
Hi, I'm Alex. I came into this group and I like.
Still feels like it.
I just want to say, just feeding into this whole fan base thing, where I'm from, this kind of thing is not accepted at all. Being pretty deep in the woods, we're surrounded by rednecks who are extremely homophobic, and just anything that's changed from that's not 20 years ago, that's not their ground, and they will fight to stand their ground, and they want their town to stay the same. And I've been threatened to a level by death. It was a decision of life or death for me. The BronyCon documentary, I'm a leading role in that because of this event that's happened. And what happened is I had recently placed decals on my car. It was a Celestian Luna on my back window because I was really excited. I just recently came out and I'm just like, hey, there's nothing wrong with me being a Brony. It's what I like. Why should other people judge me for that? But I picked the wrong town to do that in. I was just going out one day and they come surround me. They get these guys and they carry rifles in the back of their trucks and they're loaded and ready to go for hunting parties and stuff like that. And they're not scared to pull them out and point them at you. And I was threatened. I said, you need to leave town or change your ways. I'm still living there. They've taken baseball bats to my window, completely smashed the decals. I can't go around and say to my parents that, that was because of the ponies. They were very skeptical on it at that time anyway. So I was up, till 4 in the morning replacing the glass in my car. Luckily we own a Mercedes shop, and I was, able to do that. But it was just that scared me so much. It's like, why should I be threatened with my life about ponies? I mean, it's something that just baffled me, and I saw the con in New York, and I figured, you know, this is the only place. Like, I never did sports in school. You know, I hang around a small friend group. You know, I was never the end guy or anything. I always felt alone. Not alone, but I didn't have a big friend circle to go to. Nobody knew who I was. You know, if I were to leave, nobody would notice, or even care for that matter. And I came into this Brony community. I'm accepted. Anywhere you go to, you know, you walk into a building with 4,000 other people just like you, and it's just this positive energy that just hits you and it lifts you. You feel like you're soaring, you know, above the sky, and it's just, you know, you can go around, you can hug anybody, you can, you know, talk about something you enjoy, and you know, just the heartwarming stories of the, you know, pulling them out of depression, or I feed off of that, and I love it so much, and I feel accepted now, and it's changed my life, and I don't know where I would be without the ponies anymore. I can't imagine life without them anymore, or where I would be, you know, if I hadn't stumbled across this at all. And it's just, you know, going to the cons, and it's just an amazing experience that like I said, it's one of a kind, and I can see, you know, there's the Star Wars guys and the Star Trek and Pokemon and anime just like here, and it's just, I never really did any of that, but I'm assuming that the fan bases are very similar. You know, it's all, you know, for the greater good, and all these people can connect to each other, and it's just you know, a huge network. The ponies is where I belong, and now I've become quite the guy, and I've completely changed. My parents have noticed it, and you know, my mother's happy for me now. She couldn't, you know, she didn't even recognize me anymore. You know, I'm such a positive person, and within my family, I have this nephew who I absolutely despise, because he's just a spoiled brat. You know, he's just being a little kid, but I mean, he was that annoying little brother that I never had, but he always secretly wanted, and we were at each other's throats. And he was actually the reason I came out, is because he came out to me. I had my music collection open one day, and he said, "Hey, is that Vinyl Scratch?" And I said, "What did you just say?" I was like, "That's a background pony. Like, you have to be involved with the community to know who that pony is." And he says, "Yeah, you know, I watched that show." And I'm like, "Oh, that's incredible. I watched that show too." And then it's just like, all of a sudden, this is just gone. All the hate does was like, we're best buds now, and you know, he's actually part of the Knoxville Bronies now. He's going to his first meetup, and you know, he's having the time of his life. And you know, my sister is just amazed to see the difference in the both of us now. That you know, he's always willing to come over to my house Saturday morning and watch the show with me. And before, you know, I didn't even want him on property. And it's amazing now, and I'm hoping to take him elsewhere. He can be my little liaison wherever I go now. Just follow me around and be the little Brony Jr. I just feel that it's just touched me, and this fan base has moved me in ways that I've never thought I would be able to be moved.
So I suppose we can all agree that this is a really positive experience for everybody, right?
Come on, that wasn't loud enough. That's better.
Hi, I'm John Valenci. I've been on a lot of shows that have had some interesting fans, but never so interesting as My Little Pony. Some of those fans call themselves Bronies, and I've been invited to the biggest Brony convention in the world. It's at the Meadowlands right outside of New York City at the end of June. This is a documentary about the fan phenomenon called Bronies. That's what this Kickstarter campaign is all about. The BronyCon documentary will follow me to New York, where we will discover who Bronies are and what makes them so unique. Our documentary is going to be respectful, insightful, and very entertaining.
Hi, I'm Lauren Malachy, the director of this project. Some people don't understand Bronies. They make fun of them, they marginalize them, they just don't get it. I'm excited to make this documentary because I believe in the message of the show, and I believe that Bronies deserve a chance to show us who they really are and why they've chosen to become fans. I think there's no better way to get to know the Bronies than through the eyes of John Delancey. Like the general public, he's new to this phenomenon, but he's been launched into the middle of their world. I'm excited to take this journey with John, but I'm also interested in discovering what fuels this love and appreciation for the show and how the Brony community is an evolving culture. I hope you're as enthusiastic as I am, because I really want to show you this journey to BronyCon. Thanks for supporting our Kickstarter campaign.
I was just going to say, that documentary raised over $300,000 from Bronies to put it together. As a result, they went even all the way to Europe to add to it. But that's a small scale, like what the charity that Bronies give. I mean, we are one of the most generous fandoms ever, and I hope that only just continues to grow. It's one of our biggest traits. I mean, Rarity herself is the element of generosity, so we have to be. It's
Question, just have a question.
Yes.
That Brony documentary, are you selling that? You get the DVD for it and sell it?
There was a way to get it with the Kickstarter, through a digital copy or a Blu-ray. They do plan on hoping to release it on some TV network at some point. It will be, they've changed the name to just Bronies now.
I've actually heard rumors that they're going
Well, it's going to include stuff from BronyCon, from other conventions, but they want to try to...
Is Q still hosting the whole thing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Alex would know more. John's going to like narrate through the documentary, right?
You guys have spoilers?
No, just,
No, I can.
he's just curious if Q's kind of hosting it.
It's actually him and Tara Strong who sing this together, and it's just amazing. And what is even more intriguing about this documentary is I was told the stories of the other Bronies in the documentary, and I was narrating their stories, and they're narrating my stories, and we're reading the letters to each other. And this documentary is about how we, in the most unlikeliest of ways, were to make it to this con. And you know, they were looking for people, you know, whose parents didn't understand, people who have been extremely hated, like me, for instance, and they really wanted to see this, so they chose a certain number of Bronies through a casting role, and it's our stories of being a Brony and what getting to this con has done for us, and then we finally meet at the BronyCon, and it's just amazing how our faces about it. Like, this convention was 4 size, you know, the population of my town was a quarter of this con, and it just, the only Bronies I had ever met were these guys at the Knoxville Anime Convention. It was a meetup, you know, of maybe 50 people, and then I going from 50 to 4,000. It's just, like I said, it just,
You think,
it takes you away, and
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering, because I know a lot of times, like with Netflix, they get like the little documentaries from like independent companies, and they put it on Netflix. I was just thinking, if you guys could get this on Netflix, that'd be really cool, because then anyone could watch it easily.
Well, and I mean, eventually the plan is to have this on retail, so you'll be able to buy it at Target and Walmart eventually. But right now, it's just through this Kickstarter page. It's through a company called Screenland. If anybody's ever done, but you can buy a physical Blu-ray copy or a digital download.
So can you stream the whole thing online and watch the whole thing on the Kickstarter website?
Well, I don't think so without buying it. They just have
money in, and then you.
you know, if you give it time, yeah, I'm sure you can find a torrent for it somewhere.
No, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just curious, because I love documentaries. I watch a lot of documentaries myself, and I've never seen this. I want to see it.
This isn't your average documentary. This is not, you know, this isn't the documentary you're gonna be watching at 3 a.m. You know, trying to fall asleep about nature. So this is an interactive.
No. When I say I watch a lot of documentaries, I'm talking about like WWE. I'm talking about I watched this thing about Lady Gaga. I watched this thing about Monopoly. I don't go to sleep on nature documentaries. No, I'm sorry. I didn't interrupt you.
Yeah, when I went out into Los Angeles for the pre-screening of this documentary, it was 100 or so, not that many. I would say there was a good 80 bronies there who were able to make that. And we saw about 80% of the doc. It wasn't in full edit or whatever. But once that ended, I was almost in tears, and I'm not one. I'm really, that's not something to move me in a movie. I just, it's whatever to me. But I was almost in tears, and to see at the end of the movie everybody stand up and just roar, just screaming encore, and the clapping. It lasted for 10 minutes before everybody calmed down. And,
I'm sure it's an amazing video. I want to see it. That really
Yeah, but one thing is, you probably
we're back.
You probably will want to see it, but it is not intended for us. It is aimed at reaching the general public to educate them about bronies.
Well, I still won't watch it.
Yeah, trust me, they have plenty of eye candy in there for us, and we'll find it very entertaining because a lot of us will get the references that a lot of the other bronies are making, and it's just hilarious. The people who are watching that, they won't get that, and they won't find it as funny as we do. But by the end of the movie, they will understand that, and hopefully, it's out there to give us a good rep, and it's. I feel it's going to do that, and if it sells enough and under the right contracts, this will be available under retail, and it'll be going out. And then maybe some networks. They're in the process of discussing that now, like PBS and so we can get it on the spot. Yes, sir.
Okay, so can I watch it on here? Like, I really want to check this out. This sounds so cool, and you're in it, and that's awesome.
You don't have to. Test it.
That power button on that power button. Press and hold it.
Now
until it turns red.
Hit it.
Where's the hammer? Anyone have a brick?
Okay, now.
Never mind.
Hello? Okay. Yeah, because if I can just fly it off there, I'd be completely fine with that. I don't care. I got some computer. So if it's not, that's fine. I want to check that out, because that sounds really cool. A documentary like that. I remember hearing about this a couple months ago. I'm just wondering how far they are in completing it. You said that you watched 80%. It was you watched it in Los Angeles. It was 80% complete.
Yeah, they're roughly there, and I was just the other night. I was chatting with the distributor and the animator with it. He said spoiler tag. He said he just finished his last scene for that. They're shooting for the 12th, which is next Wednesday, if not before Christmas. Keep your eyes out for it. Go to the Kickstarter page. If you want to buy it or go to Screenland, you can get your download code.
I will totally do that.
And when you buy the digital download, you get a 1080p, 720, 480, and one you can stick on your phone. So you have one for your phone, tablet, TV. Honestly, I think that's the best way to go because it's really cheap. And then ultimately, you could burn it to a DVD and run it that way. But no distribution. I can't say that.
No illegal activity.
Well, it'll be there.
Thank you so much.
But,
Thanks for waiting.
No problem.
How are you?
Not sure if you signed one of these.
Not yet, but I like it. Ooh. See, now this, I'm keeping. Thank you. What? Next. I don't know what he's talking about. What do you mean? This isn't a present for me.
I'd like you to sign it, please.
He's making me give it back. Sorry, no. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll let you keep it if you sign something.
Yes. Thank you very much. Next. What? I don't know what you're talking about. This is mine. Forever. Bye. Thank you. Next. Security.
it's for signage, and it's all for everybody to see. Come on, Jack.